Hello, today is Dress Like You're a Snowman Day. So, this is why I'm dressed this way. Hope you stay warm while you're watching this video. Today we're going to start a brand new module, and we're going to be learning about geometry or geometric shapes, and today is the one about area. So our objective is that we're going to understand area as an attribute of plane figures. Now let's talk about plane figures versus 3D figures. So, whoops, let me draw something here for you. Okay, if I have something that looks like this is not considered a plane figure. This would be a 3D figure. Okay, a plane figure would be like this. It's flat, it's on one plane. A 3D figure may have lots of planes. So each one of these sides would be a plane. But this is called a plane figure. Okay? Now one way that I remember it is by using the other spelling of plane. This. It's just plain. Nothing fancy about it. It can't even stand up. Okay? Just plain. Or a plane figure. Okay? Now, let's begin with an application problem. So, Eric makes a shape with 8 trapezoid pattern blocks. Now, if you remember your pattern blocks, we'll be using them in class, but this is a trapezoid. It has 2 parallel sides and 2 lines that, if left to keep going, would either make a triangle or would cross. This is like a tip taken off of a triangle. Trapezoid, tip taken off of a triangle. Okay? So, this is the red ones, the red pattern blocks. Okay, so he makes a shape with 8 of these. Brock makes the same shape using a triangle pattern block, and those are the green ones. It takes 3 triangles to make one trapezoid. Oh, it does? Well, if you can remember from kindergarten, when you make your triangles and you put your triangles on your trapezoid, 1, 2, 3, sure enough, it does take 3 green ones to cover the red one, the red trapezoid. How many triangle pattern blocks does Brock use? Now, we could draw the picture, or we could even solve this using a tape diagram. So, let's use the tape diagram. Okay, so here's my tape diagram. And he makes a shape with 8 pattern blocks. Now, each one of the blocks that Eric uses, Brock is going to have 3. So let's make Eric's blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more. 8. Okay. Now I'm going to change the color of my ink to blue. And these are going to be Brock's. So Eric's are black and Brock's are blue. Now remember, actually I'm going to do them green because the triangles in the pattern block set are green. Okay. Now, for every red shape, every trapezoid that Eric uses, Brock has to use 3 of these, which means that if this is a trapezoid, that Brock would have to have 3 triangles. 3 triangles for this trapezoid, 3 triangles for this trapezoid. He has to have 3 for every single trapezoid, doesn't he? Okay, I'm going back to black. Okay, now, what would be, it says how many triangle pattern blocks does Brock use? Now I could skip count, yeah, but let's use a letter to represent what we don't know, just to practice doing that. So for instance, 8, we've got 8 pattern blocks, so he's going to have 8 trapezoids to cover, and each one of those trapezoids requires 3 triangles. What is it that we don't know? We don't know how many pattern blocks he's going to need. So let's multiply that. 8 times 3 is 24 equals P, but I'm not done. I have not written my statement. It takes, I don't want to do it, it takes. Oops. I would like to say Brock uses Okay. Now if I don't know how to spell Brock, I just look right here. Brock uses 24 pattern blocks to make the pattern or make the shape. Okay? Am I done? No, what did I forget? I forgot something important. Right now this is not a sentence. What does it need? It needs a period. Now it's a sentence. I've started with a capital, ended with a period. You're not going to have Mrs. Corlett write not a sentence on your paper, are you, if you write it like this? Okay. Now let's clear this out and let's do something else here. Okay. Now, imagine that I am using the orange square pattern blocks. I'm going to try to draw as best as I can. And this is the shape that I make using the pattern blocks. And they're all squares. I know they look a little bit off, but they're all squares. So when we talk about area, we want to know how much space the plane figure has inside its perimeter. Now wait, what was perimeter? Do you remember what perimeter was from last year? That's like a fence. The perimeter is the outside fence. Okay, so I want to know how much area is inside. Or basically, I would want to know how big is my field inside my fence. Okay, so we can count with different units. If we're using squares, we can use squares. All right. We measure by whatever unit we have inside. We can use hexagons, we can use triangles, we can use squares, we can use rectangles, we can use rhombuses, we can use trapezoids, we can use parallelograms. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that we're using, we have to count as our unit. We could even say inches or we can say centimeters, but right now we're using shapes. So how many square shapes do I have inside? So I'm going to put the area is, and let's count it up. Well, there's 3 across and 4 down. 3 times 4 is 12. It's 12 squares. Okay? Now, I'm going to try to draw the same thing. It's going to be a little hard because I'm not a perfect drawer, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, and then I want to make the same, but then I want to change it. This time, instead of using squares, I want to use triangles. Okay? And every square, it takes 2 triangles. It takes 2 triangles to fill a square. Okay? Now, are the triangles larger or smaller than the squares? They're smaller than the squares, aren't they? Okay, well, now let's count. I want to know what the area is. Area is, okay, now let's see. How many across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across. How many down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down. Okay, 6 times 8. What was that? That was 48. Now, do I write squares? Nope, I write triangles because I counted triangles. I don't like 48. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I do. Okay, triangles. Okay. Now, okay, so let's say we have a different shape. I'm try to draw the same thing. And this time, we're going to cover it with a different shape. We're going to cover this one with the rectangles. These are rectangles. So what is the area of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 6 rectangles. Okay. Now, let's say that because we have 3 across and 2 down. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now let's examine this. If you use
it's 46.
Okay, back we go again. Now, if the shape is larger, what do you notice compared to the shapes that are smaller in size? If it's a smaller size shape that you're covering the same area with, what's happening? It takes more shapes, right? If you have a larger shape that you're covering the same area with, it takes less, doesn't it? Okay, now, I would like you, this is how you're going to be doing your homework. Your homework is going to require you to find out how many squares a rectangle or a field or something is got. So that would be its area. How many rectangles or squares are inside it? Then you're going to have a parallelogram. Now wait a minute, what was a parallelogram? A parallelogram is such a fun shape. In fact, this is how you spell it. Whoops. Parallelogram. This is how you spell it. Okay, and here's what it looks like. This could be a parallelogram, but often our parallelograms are like this. And it's like you take a rectangle and you just shove it over a little bit. And what do you have? A parallelogram. This is a parallelogram, this is a parallelogram. Basically, it means that these 2 lines are parallel, these 2 lines are parallel. That means that they can go on and on and on forever, and they would never ever crisscross. Okay? Now, granted, these are not the best drawings, so eventually my drawings would crisscross, but a real one wouldn't. Okay. Kind of fun stuff. You're going to be learning more about that later. Now, right now is area. And you're going to be learning about how to fill a parallelogram. You're going to fill it with rhombuses, you're going to fill it with trapezoids, and you're going to fill it with triangles. Okay? A trapezoid, remember, is this shape. Alrighty. Well, let's get this homework done, and I will see you tomorrow.